Shyvana, so that kind of cancels out the Vladimir amplification. These guys are completely taking out what they think Curse has to really bring the bread and the butter. So we'll see if they can make something else.
So some interesting mind game play here by COG. So first of all, they said, okay, we get first pick, we're going to leave Cass at an open. And this means that Curse just banned 2 champions that they like to play. Both Ziggs and Cass are not one-sided bans, whereas pretty much all of I mean, like the Draven and Riven ban, those are one-sided bans. Those are bans that help mostly your team, mostly hurt the enemy team. Doesn't really matter that much for you guys. But here are Curse banning away 2 of their own champions, and Voidboy's already had a bit of a stretch champion pool here. This also really makes you think about what is COG going to pick up. They prioritized Sivir a whole bunch before. Their Kog'Maw is now open. It's been banned the entire time. So a lot of interesting options here.
Maybe they feel like with the pressure they've created in these games, they'll be able to shut down those picks. Olaf goes out for the first one, though, so creating and wreaking havoc. We've heard that, you know, some people want to see Olaf in the top lane. They want to see him tankier, but that's really with different picks on the team. So we'll see how they decide to utilize this.
Yeah, I like the Olaf pick in general. I think it makes a lot of sense there. It does block a lot of the major options because this sort of, we've heard like this sort of trifecta of top laners, Shyvana, Mundo, and I think Olaf, really the 3 huge ones that skill in the late game and are really tanky. That's a good block there by COG. Now, Curse picks up 2 really good contested picks, though. The Annie, I like a lot. It's just always been so strong for Zekent, and also the Sivir pickup helps unlock a lot of potential as well. So, Curse starting out with what can be kind of any sort of a team comp. Can be highly aggressive, can be highly pokey, you don't know yet.
Cognitive looking to refresh here, get some smiles again on the faces. They're enjoying playing around with the crowd and their hover picks, and it is going to be Leona. We saw that banned out last game, and this was really big. We see it for the stop on the initiation of the Annie, and it was actually Zane King that was being crushed out, so we'll see.
So right here for Curse, to them, I think they need to save their mid lane pick for last. It's very important that they have an option that can beat the very strange champion pool of Zamfira. I'm still thinking the AP COG might come out, but Curse has to be ready for it and get a lane matchup or a team comp that'll work there to break the siege potential, but also potentially just to win the lane straight up. Whereas they can pick a pretty safe top laner like Renekton. It's going to work in any matchup there, whether it's Olaf or something that COG picks up later, maybe at least for the 3rd time. It's going to probably be all right for Curse here. The other option, though, is with Mundo banned, Dominate can play jungle Wukong. I'm kind of just talking about what they're hovering over here, but Curse need to start putting together a team comp. A highly aggressive one is a good choice.
Something we might be able to see jungle Wukong somewhat making a presence. It would be a really great initiation. And they are going to lock this one down, so Quaz will definitely have someone to dive that back line with.
Yes, and that is very important right here. When you get Sivir, get 2 backline fighters. Don't go for the Elise so much, but get a Renekton. A Riven is fine. Of course, she's banned, but Wukong and Renekton together. The Annie stun as well. There is so much engage power for Curse. Even though Kog'Maw's open, if I were COG, I wouldn't even go for Kog'Maw right here. I mean, yeah, the name synergy is nice and all that. All right, he's going to go for it. He's going to go for it, but this is highly risky. This is highly risky because Kog'Maw is an unsafe champion. There is zero peel on this COG lineup at all. So if Wukong gets there, he's staying there in the back line. And it's going to be a very tricky game to navigate for Cognitive, but it's like, all right, we're going to go in off the back of a bunch of poke.
This is the comfort. I feel like COG just got pushed really out of a comfort zone. Yeah, they're getting what they want, but like you said, these are huge picks coming in for Curse. It is going to be the on the hunt rush initiation, and they are just going to dive, and no one's going to be alive.
Yeah, this is a very single-purpose lineup here for Curse. And now what I like about this Katarina pick, though, more than I liked it for the Walking Zed, is that the rest of Curse are playing very well. It's not on Void to carry, it's on Void to do his part and be a part of a team that's already working very well. That's when you want to run Katarina, because you can rely on Dominate to get engaged, you can rely on Quas to win lane, you can rely on Kop and Zekent to land their initiation. This is a good comp for Voidboy to run Katarina. And with the lack of peel and all of like 3 total abilities that can stop Voidboy's ultimate.
No, I was looking at that as well. I'm like, who can bump him?
Yeah.
Not much.
Vi Q, Vi R, Leona Q, Leona R. Those are the only abilities that can stop Voidboy once he starts. This is a good comp for Curse.
Coming out of the gates is really what has turned these games around. We see it kind of teeter in the middle, but once Curse has gotten the composition that they wanted, they have been definitive matches. They're in the driver's seat now for 2 games in a row. It's a best of 5, and this right here is COG looking to keep their promotion hopes alive.
And this is, I think, the way to go for it. I actually like their choice in sort of in theory to go for like we're going to go to the tried and true like champ select strategies that we like. Let's play the stuff that we're really good at.
Sometimes
The AP Cogba. It's fun because then even if he dies, he'll still explode. And just and it's a metaphor for the team because COG are now going to win our hearts with their awesome champ select. Even if they lose the series, they're still the Acathian surprise for us. So I don't know. I like it. I like their choice to go for it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard to navigate in the game.
So we do see that COG switches up what they had from last game. They don't decide to go with that Elise. Are they going to be able to pull this one out stronger in the early game than what happened last time? Curse versus COG. This could be the last matchup for Curse, putting themselves back into the LCS. COG, like I said, keeping the promotion hopes alive with a win here.
See if they can do it. A very interesting team. It is going to be Chris top lane, Olaf, of course. And that's actually a good thing for COG because it's another top lane matchup where COG outscales. Where if it really peters out and nothing happens, because both these teams have been a little bit gun-shy to play very aggressively, Chris is going to have a better impact late game than Quas, and he's got friends to join him this time. So with Vi in there, and honestly, Vi Leona was a very good combo for COG. Like, they've not only brought in champions that they like to play that have been banned out, but they also brought back champions that were so successful for them. A bunch of bursts to get resets for nothing here. A bunch of frontline diving in with follow-up. This is all good things for COG that can make this work.
It's pretty quiet on the home front, Freak.
It is.
Nobody wants to get first blood up right now. It's going to be a dance-off pretty much everywhere someone can be seen.
Not at 1 minute 15. That's too early for first blood.
It's too early for a dance-off.
It's never too early for a dance-off.
All right.
Dance-offs are fashionable at all times, forever, always.
Okay, you heard it here. Confirmed on stream.
Yep.
And it wasn't even Saints.
Nope. He's not on that lineup anymore. He is the coach, though. He's around.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Partially integrated into the stream.
Yeah, he's been helping.
So now we have the lanes to begin. Finally, the minions are marching their way out of the base because these guys didn't want to march into any aggression. And we will see Dominate on that Wukong. In the jungle, we have Voyboy on teleport, something we'll mention. He's probably going to be able to roam now. We did not see any roaming from these mid lanes, like we said, unless the fight was pretty much over and everybody was walking away.
Absolutely. He's going to be looking to come in late. He's going to look to counter-gank Captain Ziploc. Now, I will Dominate's done a very good job of counter-ganking throughout this series of games so far. He's done a really good job of that one. But Voyboy can also join in on the fun. The other thing I want to point out for Voy is I don't expect him, I'm going to get proved wrong in like 12 seconds, I don't expect him to use his warding totem to ward the lane. Because seeing Vi coming is kind of useful, but leaving it up to Shunpo away, way more awesome.
Life is more important.
A little bit.
Slow push here, COG. Giving Zcat somewhat of the brush, but it's not going to be too bad here. Nobody's level 2, so they have a little room to play out of position. Where you can see that Zane King is keeping that in his mind.
There's an interesting dynamic actually in that bottom lane. So COG is going to get level 2 first by pushing, but when you push, you put your opponents under the turret, which is really useless for Leona, because she goes into turret range by virtue of engaging.
Sometimes on accident.
Yeah, whoops, oh, I gave away a kill I shouldn't have. So yeah, some mistakes can be made, but largely speaking, that's a good situation now. The lane can reset, and COG are going to be able to fight pretty well.
Zane King knows all about the accidental Zenith Blade. We'll see Zamfir level 3 in mid. He's matching it with Voyboy. Dominate looks to make his roam here. Maybe he wants to get that snowball on Quas going early because he's not hugging the right side for golems. But with the lane so pushed, I'd be surprised if he does head in.
I was actually surprised to see that Ziploc didn't actually dive the top lane right there. There were no wards at all, and Slice and Dice was already used, but he thought a counter gank might have come in. There's the jump.
You were not wrong.
I got it right, guys. I got a prediction. But now that ward is always there.
Wow.
It happens so rarely I get applause.
That is some love right there.
People don't bat an eye when Jack gets one, or like when I make a pun. But I get something right, and it's like, Freak, you did something right, buddy. Good job. But yeah, Voy's ward is now there for for 60 seconds, so we can repeatedly escape those ganks. In addition to a minion wave maybe coming by, so it's even free. This is just like, it's a good thing for Voy.
So slow. Everybody's just staring into the whites of their eyes, but there's no aggression. Thanks, nothing. Shoots him right in the face as I say that.
You, however, no predictions.
No predictions. Cop, happy to take that one. Zekent has just been holding this stun. I'm sure he's getting antsy on this one. He's starting with the Dorans. Zane King's actually going to be racking up the gold. He wants to get to that tanky portion a lot quicker. So we'll see them probably farming this one out. The disengage is going to come from Annie, so that's why Zane King hasn't been so E-happy this game.
The Captain Ziploc, though, looking, well, on top of a ward, but looking for this bottom lane attempt. Dominate is very obviously looking to counter gank. I don't think... It's interesting because both teams know the junglers are there, but both teams don't know they know the junglers are there. It's an interesting game. Sometimes it actually works out really well.
Zane King waiting on the outside. They have all three in vision. Ziploc's going to come around. He probably figures that they know he's there as well with the way that they're playing this. So they will slowly push it back. He's looking to get over the wall. Hopefully he gets around it on the Q.
Nice.
Dominate's actually going to bring a little bit of vision with him. I don't think they're really going to get much out of this. They're just stalling out time.
It's okay, they don't know he's there. He got revealed, walked back into the brush.
He's gone.
There you go. All right, away they go. The junglers said, all right, we're both waiting in the fog. Both teams kind of read that one, and then nothing happened overall. So back to farming they go. I do want to look, though, a lot at this mid lane because I think it's the most dynamic lane here. There's a heck of a lot of kill potential from Voy.
Yeah.
Zamfiro is pretty much going to have to flash when Voy hits 6 and all-ins him. Or at least burn some kind of summoner because there's so much damage potential out there on a level 6 Katarina. And Voy's holding up in minions so far. So it's only going to be like worse and worse for COG without gank pressure, I feel.
Chris goes back for a real fast chain vest. He's taking some good damage from Quaz even with that on. So whenever he's running, it is painful for Chris. We'll see how that lane goes in a few minutes. But again, back to that mid lane. Boy continuously leveling up that Q, ASAP, and putting it on Zamfira every time.
Because Captain Ziploc will leak. No flash vault breaker. Kobe's sad. Boy's going to walk away from this one. But yeah, that's actually the kind of pressure that COG needs. Look at that. Level 6 coming out first. Okay, never mind. Boy got it as well. But that's actually very important, is kind of getting the pressure down there. It's a safe recall here for Zamfira. He can go back in the lane with... he can go towards Charles if he wants some extra MR, or he can just start stacking up tier. But being able to survive the lane with some durability is probably going to be important here. No flashes. They're all real. No flashes burned just yet within the game, and it's really slowing down the jungler's ability to get into these ganks as well. Dominate not exactly bringing the most crowd control to his gank, so they got to get that one just right. But Ziploc, you can see him not as much presence in the lanes right now. Yeah, nothing yet. Dominate tried the one little sneaky gank right there, relying on Zekent for crowd control, but he got spotted by wards. At this point, I feel like Dominate's best suited to just getting level 6 over the course of about the next minute, and then forcing the invisibility ganks. And again, the easiest place to kill, mid and bottom lane. That's where I'm likely to turn things.
There's also no reason for them to give a lead away here. They do have Voy to wait on as well. He has backed for mid lane, so he may try to activate something. I wonder. No, he's not going to reach 6 off of this blue buff, so there won't be anything coming just yet from the teleport, but I'm sure it's soon.
Yeah, and that's going to be all kinds of fun. I'm actually not sure how much Curse are looking to force the issue. It's a really hard read on these comps because they function so differently, and we just don't see AP COG competitive. Dominate 6, though. Here it comes. Nope.
He almost got himself down to that lane, but again, walks over a ward. Not too much problem with that. Quaz. He will not find the assault battery. Negative. It just got leveled, actually. Ziploc hadn't leveled it yet.
Yeah, and honestly, Quas having his ultimate, having his flash available, it's not a dive that's likely to succeed very much. However, this does show the COG jungler in the top side of the map. Dominate just missed out on stealing red buff. He's like, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm going to go back to my side of the map.
Yeah, he feels like his red buff is going to be stolen, and he wants that a little bit more. Coming across, he's going to get him to pressure out. Ziploc does not want any of that, and Boy is even going to roam with him a little bit to make sure the safety is there.
Yeah, sweeping away the race real quick, just some extra gold experience to share across the team. But ultimately, Dominate hitting 6 and having double buffs is really big. And in fact, if I'm Dominate, I would love to gank while I still have blue buff. That 10% CDR is going to drop my ulti cooldown by about 15 seconds. And that's going to help him find another gank, or at least have that ability be up for the next team fight, which is also a relevant fact to consider.
And as much as we say, or he says, he likes to play unpredictable and keep it changing up, it looks like Quaz is going for the same build, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. 71 to 51 in CS, gets the pickaxe first, going for the brutalizer, and he is consistently winning his lanes.
Yeah, exactly. He's done such a very good job with this Renekton. He's one of the premier lane bullies. Again, we talked about the fact that Renekton doesn't quite scale as hard as Olaf, And in talking with Double If backstage yesterday, he made a bunch of observations about, like, well, you know, maybe the late game skilling doesn't necessarily matter so much. If you can snowball a game in 30 minutes, the laning phase is all that really matters here by just getting an item lead and closing the game out. That could very well be a huge factor here. Game 3 was all about that. Curse got the early lead and then stuck with the game the rest of the way through. COG needs to keep that in mind, that if they don't pull Chris out of this hole sometime soon, cost might be too big for them to deal with.
And you're right, they are not trying to pressure that teleport. They're quite happy with what's happening in these lanes. Those 2 pings coming in from Ziploc. But very nice flash on that. It's going to be Dominate. They don't have vision in the brush. No ward in the brush. Is it down? It is down. And he did not have another ward. That was unfortunate and a very nice escape from COG.
Nothing here's reflexes are really, really impressive. That's twice I've seen him spell shield the Tibbers. I saw him flash the flash Tibbers.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're Zekent and you go for the ult and then nothing's there anymore, it's like, oh, man, that's an unfortunate loss of a cooldown. So I got to give props. Nothing here. It's really freaking hard to do, and I'm impressed by that.
And this might actually work out for them because those 2 pings, as I was saying, came from Ziploc, but an instant initiation from Curse. Now Ziploc is here, so it looks like they are going to be able to keep going. The spell shield is out. Do they have enough time to wait it out? It's just on the outside.
Yeah, nothing to find right there. Actually, both these AD carries are at their weakest point of the game right now, where they're trying to save up money for a BF sword. Both these players going for Bloodthirster builds. And so these guys are really easy to pick on, but they're also not very big damage sources. So it's the supports and junglers who would be dealing all the damage in these ganks. Right. If they're not ready to fight, there's no kills getting picked up.
Zephyr is saying, there's a monkey in my jungle right now, and he's trying to take my wraiths, and it looks like he's not going to give up. Dominate gets his own ward down in that brush, and he smite Qs it away. Nice little play there. COG and Chris Quaz and Chris going at it right now. He gets the slice and the dice after the Ragnarok. It's going to let him get away, though. But Quaz is really driving this lane.
And it forced all of Chris's summoners out. I don't think he needed to ignite Quas. There was no real danger of getting a counter kill right there. Right. That's one summoner he could have saved. The ulti and Ghost I get. Quas unfortunately barely missed his slice and dice, didn't manage to tag any minions on the way down. So Quas, though, just has complete control. Here he goes in with Dominate.
Dominate coming in. The ulti goes down from Wukong, and it is going to be first blood again coming from these gentlemen in the top lane.
And look how low Quas got right there. That was him barely surviving from the turret dive. Still would have been worth it overall, but good gank pressure.
Oh, Mega Inferno Rocket. Oh, it's not going to get it.
Yeah, it's been spotted out. They pinged the locations. Nice try, though. It was a nice try.
That was a great try. Feel the wind. 104 to 72, keeping that 30 CS deficit on to Chris is going to give him a hard time. They were saying, take Olaf out of the jungle, put him in the lane, give him the defensive items. They are shutting down him, getting those defensive items. He'll get them, but it's going to be a lot slower than he wants.
And the funny thing is, though, like, I think it was game 2, there was so much pressure being exerted by Captain Ziploc on Quas, and it actually put Chris ahead in the lane. Yeah. Chris was winning the lane. And that's not happening this time around. Even though there's not a lot of ward coverage from Quas, even though Quas is, like, his ult's down right now, like, he is pretty gankable, there's just, we haven't seen that same gameplay there. And this was the one matchup where it really could have worked. Chris chasing him down with Ghost and Undertows, like, ganking, camping top would totally work here for COG.
Not much damage from Voidboy just yet. He only has the Sork boots and making himself into trouble here about being an escape artist and still having his ward up. He'll be all right.
Okay, so Boy's alive, and I take that back. Actually, he used his full spin, and it just didn't matter too much to Zephyra. Looks like he's going, I'm going to guess, towards Rod of Ages as his next health build, or what he's building with that Ruby Crystal there, but certainly looking to stack up. This is very similar to his Orianna game where he went Archangel's Roa. Yep, there's the Catalyst and the Blast One picked up. So Zephyra really looking for a late game scaling build. COG saying they're confident to play into the late game and use Kog'Maw as their insurance policy if things go wrong. We'll see if that can work out for him.
It's a big if. If it gets there, that COG is going to be gigantic. But this is a, like we said, power pick team coming from Curse. We'll have to see how Dominate can help his lanes. Right now, trying to do so again in the bottom lane. They want to shut down Nothing here and Zane King. They've realized that Leona being able to initiate onto Annie every time really cost them the fight in the beginning. So they're going to cut that out, not let her be tanky.
Absolutely. Trying to get rid of that guy. Trying to keep everything... you know, keep as many advantages as they can. The problem is COG just, they're already kind of winning their bottom lane already. Bloodthirster finished already for Nothing here. This Jinx, as far as damage scaling goes, outscales Sivir. you can just kind of carry games as Jinx. The difficulty being that it's really hard to keep Jinx alive against this team. Now the thought is maybe that COG has so many threats, Curse can't remove them all, and something's going to carry the team fight to the end of it. I'm not sure that's very true, though, with Katarina getting a bunch of resets. But in the meantime, though, if COG can get those initiations using Leona, making a bunch of stuff happen, they can prevent a lot of those engages.
There's On the Hunt, crushing blow into the Cyclone, and they are going to be able to get the kill on nothing here. The teleport coming down from Boy, where they said the party's over. You're late.
Yeah, that's the kind of ganks I wanted to see from I Will Dominate. It's the kind of ganks Cortez was supposed to use there from Walking Zed.
Wow.
Ooh, the flash, the ulti, here it
There
comes.
it is. Kobe gets what he wants. Quaz going to be taking quite a bit of damage here. The Slice and Dice still coming up on cooldown. Do they have enough? They do, and they pick it up. But this is going to leave that, or make vision in the top lane for them. Knowing the jungler's there, they're going to be able to grab Dragon.
Yeah, so pretty good trade overall for Curse. A kill for a kill as far as jungle ganks are concerned, and those are all very smart jungle ganks. Getting Chris into a good place against Quas is actually probably the single most important factor in this game for COG. If Chris can win that lane, it's really hard for Curse to deal with this because no one else on this lineup can deal with Chris. He could one-man carry this game if COG gets him rolling.
Voidboy in a really great roam here. They did kind of a 1-2 roam. Voidboy went up top, and Dominate was sure to cover mid. They've saved all their turrets on a Dragon where they should have lost one.
Yeah, very good play right here. Curse overall taking a gold lead by... I mean, the thing is, they pressured the bottom side of the map, which just has more objectives every 6 minutes, and that was a very smart choice there to convert that very quickly, especially once they saw the enemy jungler on the other side of the map. It was a very smart and very safe choice at the end of it all by Curse. But now, of course, 6 minutes down, they've got to sort of reset and say, well, look, we either siege, which I don't think is going to happen against AP COG, and with a melee-heavy lineup, or they wait around for 6 minutes and let COG keep scaling, and kind of this 2,000 gold lead doesn't go anywhere.
And this really can't go any better for Dominate right now. He picks up 2 kills, and everybody's looking at him on the team to be the main initiator, so he's going to be where he needs to be a lot quicker as long as nothing kind of changes from here on out. If he can keep getting those slow kills, he'll be good to go. Especially
if he can keep destroying the bottom lane here for
COG.
Right. You remove the AD carry, and the double bruiser of Wukong Renekton doesn't die to much of anything unless you have like Nashor's Tooth coming at the end for Zamfira, just putting out so much auto attack damage that he actually can kill that front line. But that's going to be hard. So realistically, I Will Dominate. You talked about him doing very well. Had 2,500 gold before he backed. Picks up Ancient Golem and more. Start going offensive with a Brutalizer. He's going to really be able to force ganks. He's got 20% cooldown just from items. Another 10 anytime he gets blue buff, which no one else needs. Dominate's going to be putting out a lot of pressure in this mid game.
Crushing blow, almost taking down nothing here really in the beginning of that fight. The Cyclone was just for good measure so everybody can get their assists in. He is already outputting quite a bit of front-end damage, which, like I said, it changes the thought of the fight immediately and what you can do in it. 17 minutes in, the Ravenous Hydra picked up onto Quaz. He feels good about that in lane, and he's still giving Chris hell. 148 to 118 in that lane.
The Sunfire Cape and Ravenous Hydra are both done. It's going to change the lane dynamics. So obviously one's building damage, one's building durability, but they're going to start to do like their objectives more. Now Chris has a lot of really easy trades with Reckless Swing. Chris maxed that first, the E, the true damage. Quas will just get chunked by that ability. The difficulty being that Quas has a lot of health sustain now. He's 21 defense, he's got some health regen there if he ever gets low, and he's got the Ravenous Hydra lifesteal. So if Chris doesn't play aggressively, he'll never push Quas out of lane, and Quas will just keep last hitting, which, you know, can be a concern.
And this one's very close in gold, and much to the right, Curse or COG, neither COG I should say, are wanting to fight this one out. It's very here and there on the fight. It's only 2 to 1. And Dominate from the backside. They get a great initiation onto nothing here. His flash was not up that time, and they were able to connect. Voidboy gets the speed up, runs past Zane King very nicely to get the Death Lotus on and the maximum amount of damage. They pick it up for COG.
These guys burned a lot of ultimates to force that down, but when you've got actual engagement here on the Curse lineup, really for the first time in this series, they've got actual initiators going on here. Works really well for them. They force the turret down, trading mid turrets, but this is kind of what happens. The game accelerates when Curse, the confident team, starts making plays. Instantly accelerates. It kind of leaves something else for COG to do here while pushing the mid lane, but again, they are in the right spot. They're only going to lose one off of that, but they got kills and the turret. So good stuff here. The gold lead still only 2,000 apart. These guys are actually trading resources pretty well, but this top lane matchup, you're seeing it. Quas is winning this one. Chris forced to get away. Summoner spell for an ult. Take that any day, says Quas, and he's going to be ready to stay in that lane, pressuring Chris just past the river every time. Stay on your side of the court. Yeah, so No offsides now for Chris. He's going to have to sit there on the back, play defense for a while. The blue buffs are still given the dominate. This says, yes, we really want you to have the low cooldowns, have the ability spam. Sivir would make use of it, but they're consciously giving dominate that power, the extra golden experience. Dominate has a full level on Ziploc right now. Some of that's the buffs, some of that's the kills they've been picking up, but that's a state of power. Dominate is dominating the jungle.
Doing a very good job. Just seeing the level comparison right now. Everybody seems to be even. 13s in the mid are the highest. And like you said, Dominate really the only one with a level up on his position. His core items finished. You can see the switch up, the Haunting Guise, but quickly into the needlessly large rod for Voyboy. So he had the money. He's maxing the power.
Exactly. He's going for what looks like a zone. Actually, it could be Zonius or Deathfire Grasp. I've seen both builds.
Ooh, nice flash.
Yeah, I think he's going to be safe. I've seen both builds on Katarina. They work in very different ways. But first, Quaz getting jumped on.
Quaz, the turret could have been too much. It wasn't enough. Chris goes down, or Chris takes him out.
Yeah, very well played there by COG. I like the fact that Ziploc keeps showing up there because, again, that duel is important. Randu and Zoman likely... So Randu and Zoman's are Spirit Visage. It depends on his priorities here for Chris. But as soon as he crests Quaz in power, suddenly there's so much pressure on Curse to make plays somewhere. Because if one lane starts passively losing with no engage, or no engagement from the rest of the team, suddenly it's like, well, look, we keep letting this happen, we're going to lose the game. They've got to force plays. Now, Curse have been forcing plays pretty well with Wukong, but they're required to as opposed to being a benefit.
Looking at that kill, that was actually Ziploc that picked that up, which he needs that tankiness as well. He's their initiator. He needs the same thing Dominate does. So better off that going to him. Chris grabbing some assists there. It might start to put him over Quaz, but that play in the lane has really driven him to victory. So you got this dragon fight coming up. Dominate inside the pit and on the hunt. May continue this one. A very nice Void who's disengaged against the whole team.
Yeah, the whole team got out pretty successfully. Unfortunately for Dominate, he couldn't get into range to land his ulti on anybody. But the rest of Curse, honestly, they're just in position. This is basically theirs barring a smite steal. Nope, it's going to be picked up again by Dominate.
Dominate grabs that when the Cyclone goes out. They for sure pick the kill up onto Ziploc, and that is not going to be enough for them. They want everything and anything in the fight. Nothing here gets flashed on. A very good W stun coming out of Quaz, and they're going to continue this fight. The Death Lotus, the reset, the crushing blow. No, it goes over to Quaz.
Ooh, good read by Zamfir. Actually chases down the invisible I Will Dominate. Good job right there on the ulti right here, the passive. But yeah, the engage comes in. Nothing here's Rocket comes in way too early, actually, and he's now out of position. The knockup that lands, and that's the issue, right? Is there's no peel for these two squishy backliners. Zamfira and Nothing here have nowhere to go. Because COG, they spent their Vi's cooldowns trying to Dragon Steal instead of setting up a team fight. They were basically saying, like, look, we'll get out of position to trade a chance at Dragon, instead of saying, look, we've got position on you, let's get a real team fight. I think if they approached the fight differently, COG could have been fine there and won that battle instead of losing it 5-1.
Dominate loved that. And he actually made an amazing play. He flashed to catch 2 more people in the Cyclone there and continued a huge fight for Curse. Now they know, again, they're in the driver's seat, and this is when it gets really scary for COG.
It's pretty incredible right now for Curse. Now, they are waiting on a couple of cooldowns. Zekent still is without Tibbers for now. That's not the worst thing because they have the cooldowns back on I Will Dominate already. He's upgraded to Black Cleaver. He's got 20 CDR, again, just passively from his default item build at this point. So he can keep going in for engages. And of course, Voyboy's cooldowns and Cop's cooldowns very short as well. Those 3 can keep making plays over and over, which looks like what Curse is doing.
See, Black Cleaver finished up on to Dominate, so he is assisting huge on Cop if he puts that Q through the team on that Boomerang, and Quaz is going to have a field day with the Call of the Meek once he gets in there, and his Hydra. Everything is synergizing so well for their picks, and it's only escalating.
It really is. Honestly, until this top lane gets turned around by COG, and it might even be too late for that to happen, life just gets more and more painful here. And in fact, I Will Dominate coming into the top lane. Chris, not going to be in the best shape.
Looks like he will be able to Ghost in Ragnarok, but that means once it wears off, they're going to be able to turn on him. They had to see this coming. It doesn't last forever. Cyclone just hits on the heels of Ziploc, and they may have this chase on. He's going to be able to get the crushing blows one after the other. Doesn't have much cooldown to his name right now, but oh, the bottom lane, the 1v1, something is there, and he is going to be able to take down Cop.
Cop, unfortunately, missing his flash thrower, wanted to dodge the ulti, and at this point now, I don't know if Boy has the damage to chase down Chris. Okay, he does.
Absolutely.
Nicely played.
He didn't go for Super Burst, but he is super harassing, and he was able to finish off the kill. Great job by Quas and Dominate to continue the follow in the top lane, leaving that janitorial pickup for Voyboy.
Yeah, and now Curse are really spreading out COG, and that's a very big difficulty for these guys because Cognitive Gaming's lineup outside of... Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Oh.
Boy on the chase.
He doesn't know where to go.
Zamfira played that perfectly.
Now he does.
That was really nice.
That was pretty cheeky by both.
Yeah, but as I was saying, though, outside of Chris, basically, the rest of this lineup from Cognitive is not very self-sufficient. They need to all be together, right? Leona obviously needs a teammate. Vi can't really 1v1 anybody. She's got to engage for her team. And then Jinx and Kog'Maw need a front line to stand behind. And when Curse are playing really chaotic battles, Voyboy's running across the map with teleport and a home guard, like 3-man like pushes top and they kind of get kills as they kind of straggle on through the fight. That's exactly what Curse wants, is these like weird limping, go in and out team fights where you never get a real 5-on-5. If Curse keeps doing that throughout the mid game, they're pretty much guaranteed this one.
11-4 on the score sheet, 25 minutes on this one, and the gold again going in favor of Curse. About 8,000 gold now, actually 7,000 still. They both tick up 100 there, keep themselves even. It's just going to be Curse, as we say, in the driver's seat, slowly taking turrets. This is the time when everything kind of slows down, but they know what to do next. They haven't been taking something and just stopping.
Yeah, I feel like Curse are definitely going to keep looking for these battles anytime there's a meaningful objective available. So Dragon's up in a minute and a half. That's going to be something that Curse are definitely looking to control and say, look, we're not going to give that to you to get back into the game. We're not going to give you the experience and gold that it takes to get back onto our level. Instead, we're going to take that one down pretty cleanly. If you show up, we're going to out-team fight you. Curse are just... They're the team that are going to get a bunch of ward control here. They've won a bunch of fights in a row. They've actually got a lot of wards peppered throughout the map. That's going to allow them some really clean rotation and a bunch of fights in a row.
Hydra into that Randuin that's already been utilized in these last fights, so the tanks are really coming out for Quas and Dominate now. He's got his Giant's Belt. He got that Golem quite quick with that Cleaver in the beginning of the game. So they were just able to have such a surge of power, and really that's where COG has faltered. They're not able to find a way past that. And right now, like you said, biding their time to scale up. We'll see if it's going to be an objective for them.
Well, let's see what these guys have right here. Everything's been reset, but COG getting a couple of nice split pushes there with the bottom lane turret going down. But Curse, though, they've grouped up. They said, all right, the 4 of us here, if we get a Flash Turret Initiation or like a Flash Wukong Cyclone, that's enough to get a team fight victory because Voyboy can clean up. Kind of any mix and match of 4 members of Curse actually works really well together, which compared to Cognitive, that's not true. Right? Cog needs the right guys for them to make a fight happen. Curse can match any of these guys, which gives them a lot more freedom around the map. Cop can sit here split pushing, being Sivir, highly evasive, and still scale up in levels and gold. Yep. The rest of Curse can make plays.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. We've seen Voyboy going off by himself in the 1v1s. Although Chris didn't have much HP, they know where to grab these kills up, and it means they're moving before it happens. They're setting the chess pieces in motion already, setting up for this dragon that's here, but COG knows the time as well, and this is their chance to make a move.
So COG are going to be here first by a little bit. Voi's teleport is down. He's trying to home guard back down the map. Problem is, COG don't really know all that information, and they're a little bit hesitant here. They're not in the greatest of positions. They're trying to group back around. Now, they do have positioning for a real 5v5. This is a true test. There's 7,000 gold difference, but if COG can win this fight, they basically have to win this fight. If they give up Dragon, they're going to fall farther and farther behind. They'll never get back in. This is the most important fight for COG here.
This is a really scary fight. All of that AoE is perfectly centered around Voyboy and Dominate. They can get in with Cyclone and Death Lotus, and it's not going anywhere but to the HP bars of COG. There is zero escape for them. And if they pull this Dragon out, they'll be a bit safer, but it looks like Ziploc is going to keep himself in. The team's not really reacting to this.
Well, the good thing is they have AP COG and Olaf for some really meaningful poke. Voi's down to half. This is going to be a really short timer for Curse. They might have to go in now.
There's the Talisman of Ascension. Will they go in? The Tibbers coming out on the back line. Quaz tries to get in. Misses out on the Tiamat, but he does spread the team very thin. Zekent to the back line. Chris takes him down and enters back into the fight. Zamfira flashing over the wall. Will he get more living artillery from the outside? Dominate goes for the clone, but he goes down to the red buff as well. The shot coming from the backside, and Zane King picks up a kill. It's the move they needed to make, but could Curse turn this around? Right onto nothing here. Quaz with 100 HP. Get excited. One more shot. Get more excited for the triple kill.
Nothing here played that fight so well. He actually stopped I Will Dominate's engage. They're going to get rewarded with at least one turret here. Watch this. So the dive comes in, Dominate flanks. He got stopped by Flame Chompers, and Zemfira and Nothing here peel away from the initiation so very well. And Chris manages to mop up in this team fight as well. Voyboy never got the perfect engage he was looking for. A Zamfira flash over the wall kept him safe. Nothing here completely outplayed I Will Dominate, as well as picking up these 2 cleanup kills. If you don't get rid of Jinx, she does this to you. Nothing here was massive for that fight. A turret and the dragon picked up on top of a 5 for 3.
That was the move they needed to make. That's the first fight they've won like that, being down in gold throughout any of these games. Curse, having that lead in the last game, was able to kind of take it over and make it look clean and easy. COG now adapting this time to their loss, and they are fixing it.
That was really well played, and you can just see what comfort picks will do for you. I mischaracterized AP COG. I was like, that's going to be real hard to deal with. I feel like he's going to get blown up, but with the Seraph's shield, with his flash and barrier being used, Zemfira is actually not easy to kill. Just to give you guys some math, 2,500 health. His barrier's worth another 400. His Seraph's shield's going to be worth another, what, like 400 or something. He's got like a almost 4,000 health pool. Good luck actually removing that.
And then he's going to blow up on you if you kill him anyways. Yeah. He's got true damage per level. Yeah. So that's kind of painful. 51,200, looking at about a 4,000 gold lead here as 47,000 sits in the pool of COG. They just made that actually quite a lot bigger here. 30 minutes, 30 seconds into the matchup. 14-9 as the kills finally start rolling in for the viewers as well as for the players. And these items are going to start being built out as well. Quaz finally going for a little bit more damage mitigation in his Spirit Visage as he builds that up. Looking on the other side, the Randuin's coming out from Olaf. We said Chris was having a hard time and he's kind of lackluster on the items.
Well, COG needs to react right now. The Voyboy split pushing bottom with Teleport and Home Guard available, and COG aren't making any way in. They are forced to recall, and again, Chris splitting up COG. This is the right play by these guys. Forcing, looks like it's going to be Chris to go back, but it's going to be hard for COG to fight the rest of this battle.
Voyboy trying to replicate a cop. He's close. He gets one inhibitor turret. That's all right. Happy with that. They're going to have a good push towards that bottom lane. It leaves a window open for something to do if the game does stall out. Damn, Voyboy. Got some blue suede shoes on running from this one. Chris doing what he can, but Voyboy dodging and ducking out.
Good escape there by Voy. If one of those undertows had landed, very likely Chris could have picked it up. If his ghost was up as well, that would have been probably a kill for Chris. So well played by Voy, and of course he got the turret, so that's again more pressure without teleport being burned. They got a choke over this, so COG regrouping for this push, and they are what looks like to be the stronger team right now. Barrier and Seraph's shield are both back up here for Zemfira. He's been hard to get rid of.
Now, COG, after this fight, they do look a little bit bigger because they have their items, but they're not pushing waves. They're kind of pushing with themselves. They get there and it's empty, and Curse has time to set up. Big wave in the top lane they're going to have to deal with soon here as that builds up, and this fight really may allow Curse to utilize that wave in their favor here.
And on top of that, look at the ward coverage, though, that COG has put out, because they've warded all of their flanks to look for Quas, to look for Dominate, and to disengage like this.
That was pretty big damage on that coming out. Oh my god, a full team Cyclone! That was absolutely huge. Ziploc goes down immediately. Zamfira is already on a Cathian surprise. It is bloodbath right now as Curse takes out COG on their side of the field, and they're going to push them back. It looks like that wave might come in handy in top lane.
Wow, they all ran away in the same direction on top of each other. Instead of going down the lane, they ran towards Golem buff. What an engage there by Zeke, and all you can do is just watch this Annie. They try to get out. Look at that. The flash tippers, the cyclone. There's just not much you can do about that. The attempted counter engage just doesn't really matter. Chris shows up for the fight late, but it doesn't really matter too much there either, honestly. When you take that much early burst damage, nothing here is not going to out-duel the Wukong when you're already at 1/3 HP.
A 5-person Cyclone, Baron, and Inhibitor turrets falling after this. A huge play by Curse, and they knew what they had sitting on the board. Everything was set in motion. That fight was gigantic.
Yes, absolutely yes. Void burned his teleport to get to the top lane really quickly.
Boom.
And just add more to that battle. Baron, of course, definitely going down. You guys saw, by the way, Dominate missed Smite. Smite went out. Baron is still alive. The Curse legacy continues. But honestly, these guys are in a really good place. They landed the team fight they wanted. And good on them to say, well, we just lost the team fight. We don't have the flank, but we need to go for the battle here.
Yep.
To have the confidence to say, look, we're still very powerful. If the battle goes correctly, we're fine. And that's the kind of thing I like about team comps like this, where the gold lead clearly doesn't matter. Whoever won the last team fight clearly doesn't matter. It's positioning. It's engaging properly.
Yep.
It's using your abilities in the correct way. That's what makes these teams win the battle. So even coming back, another battle after this, Baron buff, inhibitors, doesn't matter. COG clearly still has the tools to win a fight if they can fight it correctly.
All right, we see on the side of QC, fixing up some peripherals here. Fancy feet, kicking them out. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah. I've heard a guy actually was... way back like years ago, he was playing with his power strip accidentally with his feet while playing and unplugged his computer.
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah, and he actually forced a regame because in Warcraft 3 there weren't remakes, so
no thanks.
There's no reconnect. So it was like, all right, well, new game. People rumored he did it on purpose. He won the remake. It was a big controversy.
Sometimes
but
that's
League of
the
Legends,
mentality game, man.
you can just rejoin the game. No big deal.
Absolutely.
Got that in
It's
there.
a pretty
for you
good
guys.
game. Not gonna lie.
It's pretty fun.
It's free.
I hear like 12 people play it.
Yeah, million, 1,000,
Yeah.
100, infinity.
A lot of bros. You guys are awesome, by the way. Yeah.
But we got to remember what's on the line. Back to everything. Hopes and dreams. Curse getting back into the LCS. COG, they said they have nothing to lose here. But right now, it looks like they're playing scared, and they have to because Curse is such a dominant force in this game. That fight didn't make things any easier for COG. Maybe this will give them some time. Definitely not going to help if they had really something in motion. So we'll have to see as this pause.
Yeah, honestly, COG, they really grinded to a halt because of that team fight. Like, that's a pretty big morale killer. They just got a team fight win. They got Dragon. They got a turret off of that. And it's like, all right, COG have a glimmer of hope here to pull it into a game 5 and try to bring it out one more time. That's a good place to be in. And then they got severely outpositioned. The engage was so good from Zekent there. That was actually massive. Now, when you're COG here, you say, all right, we turtle it out, we scale up. These guys have a really good late-game team comp here. These champions here are going to work pretty well, and they hold really well. There's a lot of long-range damage. Jinx in her base, very hard to dive. COG in his base, very hard to dive. So COG can hold on to this game quite well.
Looking at their team comp, can we consider that it makes it a little harder for them to peel and better for Curse's damage, that they actually have to walk up for any peel that they do? They have to group up. They have to be in that AoE of Cyclone. It almost makes it difficult for them to peel for anyone.
Well, the cool thing about COG's lineup is that they can play from really far away. Like, even though they've got a Leona and Vi, they don't have to start fights. COG has the 2 longest range champions on the map, which is Kog'Maw's ultimate and Jinx's W and R kind of together.
Right.
So COG gonna say, come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. And then when the guys finally show up, they throw down Leona ulti, or they throw down Voidoo's, or they throw down the Flame Chompers from Jinx, and it's like, Wukong can't get over that. Right? He doesn't have rocket jump and then like engages afterwards. He's got to walk through those traps or through that slow zone and then dash in and hit Cyclone. And if COG has the foresight to see those engages coming, play from far enough away, that's all the peel they need. They can just use slows and get away with this.
10,000 gold lead, and I think Curse knows it. The Baron buff circling around them, and they got quite a good time on it. More than 2.5 minutes left onto that one. This open inhibitor turret here in the bottom lane. This has all been done by Voidboy. He was doing Cop's job last game. He's taking the bottom and top inhibitor solo by himself after engagements.
Yeah, Boy's going mental this game. He's 6-1-7. I think we finally found him a champion where he gets to really... Like, this is a Voidboy signature. This was a top lane he used to play in the beginning of Season 3 for a while. He's playing full AP Katarina, which is awesome because you just kill things in 3 seconds. And yeah, it's Voidboy like we expected to see Voidboy. The kind of mid lane we kind of expected to see from him here. And honestly, with the Baron regen, Curse are pretty able to siege this out. And then when a team fight happens, they can explode.
Jinx. Quicksilver Sash comes out quite quickly. Doesn't want any stun to be holding him back. And with his reactions, nothing here. Probably keep pretty safe with that ability. A 10,000 gold lead. Very daunting for COG here. And you can see they don't want anything. But Curse knows there's still potential, as you said, in that COG lineup. And they're not taking this inhibitor easily.
Yeah, they're still trying really hard. They have 2 elixirs burning, whereas COG has 1. They've still got the Baron buff for a minute and a half or so, and they are slowly making the way in on the inhibitor. Despite all Zenfira's poke, it's working for these guys. They're maybe one wave away from the inhibitor.
Every time Cop can get in there to make a hit, that melee team makes it a little more difficult, but they finally come up with it. There's no initiation there. A nice shun pull away. 19-9 is the score. We are 36 minutes in. CRS is looking to regain their spot in the LCS, but COG keeping their hopes alive. Their base, however, kind of on fire.
Kind of on fire. It's not a great place for these guys. There's only one inhibitor turret left standing, but Dragon is back up, so CRS can continue to cement their lead if they want to just take more gold. Yeah, Ziploc, you don't have control of your own jungle. Be careful, dude.
Going in, the blue buff not completely necessary at this point. That Baron buff is still ticking away, and they have a large advantage over the jungle. Their wards are pretty much the only thing that sits in a spot that would really be a warranted objective. And it looks like they're going to head back here with the map objective free besides Dragon. So I guess it's not objective free. We'll call it not.
Yeah.
It's going to be picked up by COG.
Okay, so interesting choice here by CRS. They're going back to buy up a bunch of items. They're giving away this this golden experience to COG, but CRS bought a recall with that. Basically, so COG's going to back up. They have no map control anyway. Nothing's on the map. COG doesn't have anywhere to go as a team, so Dragon was pretty fortunate for them. But CRS say, look, we're more powerful than you. We got Baron. We just took another turret down, or not another turret, but they got the inhibitor at the very least. So they're going to start having minion waves to create more pressure for them, and they can renew the siege now. And with new items, with the full fury of that 10,000 gold lead, CRS are bringing all that money to bear in the next fight.
And I like that CRS isn't stacking items they've previously built. It was Dominate, obviously, to go with Cyclone for the Black Cleaver this time, and shied away from by Quaz. You don't need two of them on. He's going for more that will help synergize the team into more fights and continue them going so they can go coast to coast, because they do have On the Hunt, and the chases are really, like you said, what's shutting down COG. They can't get away.
Exactly, and I like sort of just how they've also shared the item burden as well to make this happen. Right? The Talisman of Ascension, again, also coming in to help the engagement happen, even just a stack with On the Hunt, but then also realizing that I Will Dominate, as you talked about his item builds, needs to be his own frontline tank, needs to be pretty damagey, so it's Zekan who picks up the Aegis, right? Sharing the team item burden so that I Will Dominate can focus power onto himself. Another good sort of adaptation for these guys to make sure power's in the right places.
See how COG is playing this. CRS and Zane King both trying to stay on the top. Whoa, they're getting pushed back there. It's like they fully wanted a Ziploc on the far side, showing some aggression, and that is some good damage they're able to put out. No real initiation just yet, but it is enough to scare for the inhibitor. Voyboy low. There's the Zhonya's coming out, and it's going to force him out the fight. Cyclone in circles, literally, to drop and pop up more than one player. Zekent taking down Zamfira. This could be all they need. Voyboy does go down, though. So does Zekent. Those are 60-second timers, and they are being pushed out of the base. Cobb turns around right in the face of three members of COG. Is it going to be enough? The barrier's down. There's not enough splash damage. They trade 1 for 1. Ziploc pushing back Cobb. Beautiful job by Nothing here. Keeps himself alive with 100 HP.
And only one member of CRS is alive, being chased down by Ziploc and Co. And Dominate doesn't have move blocks that'll get him out of this one.
This is exactly what CRS was afraid of. COG was kiting the fight perfectly every second of the way. They lost 2 for 4.
Yeah, I mean, incredible defense right here by COG, kiting back into their base, having the room to work with. Very nicely done. So let's watch this again. Voyboy, unfortunately, never gets rolling. And really, Zamfira, Nothing here, don't get really hit on that much. It's a lot of hefty engage to get rid of COG, but that leaves Nothing here to do whatever he wants and just starts landing the damage output in rocket form, in pow pow, whatever it takes. Just as long as those two backliners split up, it takes all of CRS's attention to kill one of them, which leaves the other there to mop up the fight. Nothing here plays this battle really well. One hit from Dead that gets it, and now he has time to grab his red buff, recoup power, and the quick service assassin he picked up, again, a big part of that, keep him alive, not get CC locked.
That was awesome. Nothing here's fight assessment is incredible. Quick Inferno Bomb to kill Voyboy, and really, Voyboy should be the last one into the fight. He got himself a little antsy there, and that's why they didn't have as much burst damage, Freak. It's getting scary now. These items are starting to come up, and CRS didn't stall too much this game. They were always trying to push. COG is again adapting.
Yeah, so CRS are going to try to push down onto Baron this time then. It's actually a pretty good choice. They will see Cognitive coming in. They'll be able to turn around in time and re-engage. Tibbers is up. I Will Dominate's ulti is up as well. CRS have a full power team fight waiting for them.
It's like a 4,000 health almost Olaf running into the matchup here. He's going to check the health of Baron. They got a pink ward down on it as well, so they're going to be safe. See what happens. That was good, and COG is adapting, but they have a long way to go, and this is them trying to dictate what's going on. They're going to make CRS start to dance around them now and try to get a push down mid.
Now Deja Vu, COG really trying to push here. The problem is, oh no, Cop's not near the top lane. He can't solo the base right now. So they do force the recalls though. They buy some more time, Cognitive, they do that. But really, there's just too much map pressure from the dead inhibitor. They've got to go back to their base to defend their sole surviving Nexus turret, which gives away map control over Baron.
There's Chris on the outside. Ziploc really isn't present in the fight just yet, so it's not going to be a 50-50 for Baron, but Curse also does not want to keep damaging it either. A great job. One person able to stop off of Baron. It's exactly what they needed.
So this is actually a very difficult situation for Curse because you're clearly the team in the lead. Now, normally at this point, you use the dead inhibitor to allow yourself a Baron take, but Cognitive are playing around the Baron incredibly well. And they've still got to consider the fact that, look, Jinx is legitimately crazy and hard to deal with in late game team fights. And so they're like, well, there's a bit of a timer here. COG's only got one more, Cogma, the champion, only has one more item to go until he's full build. Jinx is basically full build. Like, Cogma's late game's really scary, but you know, the usual ways you win the game aren't working right now. So they're like, okay, Void Boy split push, hopefully that's enough.
Void Boy did a good job using that teleport throughout the game. It didn't get him too many massive kills, but he's cleaned up otherwise, so no worries there, and the teleport is still up, so they can utilize it here at least to catch COG off guard.
And the problem is this is a potential 5v4 because Void Boy can teleport in. You can just see the COG mob poke, and because it reveals champions, it gives them really good control over, is it a Baron kill or is it a push in?
Talisman of Ascension. Looks like they don't really want much of that. Whoa, Ziploc going in. It's going to be Zkent kind of holding out to the outside. The teleport now coming in on the ward. They place it for him to get into the fight. Is it going to be enough? Void Boy's in. Zamfira gets locked up. The Cyclone is hitting at least 2 members. Here's nothing here. Makes his way in from the side, but it is Void Boy picking up a few resets. Void Boy on the triple kill. The quadra kill. Void Boy getting away from the Cathian. Surprise with the Zanyas, making it look good. Nothing here will not equal the Penta.
That was so close. Zamfira almost took a whole bunch of people out right there, but now Curse, 4 members alive with only nothing here left to defend the base. This could be Curse re-entering the LCS.
So he did go and use the teleport, and it ended up quite big for them. The AoE damage, however, of nothing here, that is quite scary, and they cannot stand still for too long. Dominate looks to be taken. Most of the damage is Quaz knows he can take a few shots. There's the Nexus turret. It is going to be Curse, locking down, taking back their spot in the LCS.
Congratulations right there. Curse on their feet, and for good reason. Very well played series, coming back from a rough Game 1 loss and trying to get on more and more as the series went on.
The pickups, the choices, the team being remade. Curse looks to be in good form, not top form as they were, but enough to get in the LCS and once again reach that position.
And very well done. Quas really showing himself, Dominate showing himself, Zkent as well. The new additions did good work. Cognitive, honestly, pretty good run for these guys.
Yeah.
I gotta give them a lot of props. They were such underdogs throughout the challenger scene, scraping it together, barely making it into this tournament itself, being picked by Curse first as what was sort of supposed to be the weakest challenger team, but they put on a really good performance.
A lot of these games just spell when you don't know the team you're going up against that well. It's got to be comfort picks. You got to rely on what you know, and sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it to. There was a lot of picks being taken away from COG that they wanted and switched around. The bans coming out from Curse, we really saw Champion Select being the place of victory in these games when teams don't know about each other.
It really did happen. Game 1, the Nidalee pick, the analyst has talked about it, a little bit of a weird choice for Curse. You saw here in this last game, pretty good reasons for why Kog'Maw was banned. Zamfira put a lot of pressure on the map, actually created quite a number of opportunities, but really the interesting thing I liked was that jungle Wukong, I will dominate, pretty much started that game the right way for Curse and was the reason that they could continue to win team fights against a very scary, very pokey, cognitive lineup of some very fun champions.
I mean, I'm going to say 90% of the time a 5-man Cyclone is going to win you the fight, and he was consistently doing that. The Flash Cyclone and Dragon Pit, long day. He flashed out, grabbed 2 more on pretty much the max extension of it.
Yeah.
An amazing play. Everybody started turning it on after Curse realized there was a problem. We need to change something. This isn't how we play.
Yeah, they stopped playing scared. They really seemed to refocus part way through that series, and they took initiative there. That was, I think, a fault of COG partway through the series, games 2 and 3 especially. By the time we got to game 4, I think both teams were playing it pretty well properly, and it was just a couple of really interesting team fights. You saw the one down by Dragon where so many good plays by Cognitive won them the 5-for-3 fight, and then 2 minutes later, Curse finds their own version of that fight where they get the engage they want and group everyone together. And it was, it's fun to see games like that where it's just the way you play it changes the game, not just champions, not just individual plays, but the team approach.
And a little individual play I think everybody is confirmed on is Quaz. Played absolutely amazing for the team. He came out strong, brought out his Renekton, tried a few other things, but it was really that was able to carry a lot of what Curse did in the mid game to that late game, into those inhibitors in the Nexus.
Yep, he pulled a bunch of attention to himself, fought up against Chris the whole way through, pulled so many ganks from Captain Ziploc, but kept his lane locked down. It was a well-played series by Quaz.
Let's hear from the team themselves. We're going to send it down to Shocks on the main.